Trish and Rob McGregor welcome you to a place where all kinds of phenomena flourish. Voices whisper ancient secrets, signs and symbols are abundant. UFOs, ETs, ghosts, and even the dead move about freely. Here we meet authors, researchers, and investigators of the mysterious, the strange, and of the inexplicable anomalies that surround us. Step out of the everyday world and take a journey into the mystical underground.
Welcome to the Mystical Underground. Thank you for joining us. This is Trish McGregor.
And Rob McGregor.
And our producer and tech magician, John Posey. You can go to mysticalunderground.com where we make regular posts and where you can find out about our books. Among them are The Secrets of Spirit Communication, Sensing the Future, and Aliens in the Backyard. Our most recent book is called Mind-Blowing Synchronicities, the Latest Science, Stories and Research. Trish's most recent novel is White Crows, and Rob's is called Tulpas. If you're watching us on YouTube, we would appreciate it if you'd take a second to click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons so you never miss an episode. If you prefer to listen to the show, it's available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe there.
Okay, our guests today are David Starr and Francesca Rose. They are spiritual mentors and trainers who help people understand the power of their consciousness. They are compassionate about helping people heal their past trauma and understanding more about themselves and their place in the universe. They have created a number of consciousness advancement courses at davidstarrunlimited.com to help people find their divinity and learn to become masters of their own energy. David and Francesca Rose are the authors of Your Higher Power, Accessing Your Divine Gifts. Welcome, David. Welcome, Francesca.
Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations on your book. I found it to be very well done, in like an instruction manual for accessing higher energy, higher awareness. And we have questions for you, but I would like to begin by just letting one of you or both of you just tell us what's on your mind this afternoon and what message you would like to get across to our listeners, if we could do that. Appreciate that.
Go ahead, David.
I could just ask a question too if you
Just like to welcome everybody, and we're happy to share our heart and some time with you all. And consciousness is a very exciting thing to talk about because there's a really big shift happening on the planet, and you can even see it playing out based on some of the things that are the dirty laundry coming up in the political arena and everything. And it's like an awakening that's happening, and this has to be cleared out and cleansed out, and is the only way that we can move past the corruption. But it's wonderful to be here and wonderful to share this space with you all today.
David, I have a question. Are you ready to become the 54th state?
Well,
Canada.
I don't know if we have a choice, to be honest with you. So.
It sounds like it. Yeah. So your message is that there is an expansion of consciousness underway. But if you tell that to people, many will say, "What are you talking about? The world is in chaos and divisiveness, and things are so extreme that people can't talk to their neighbors or even family members." How do you explain that? Getting out of that and pursuing this expanding consciousness?
Well, we certainly can spend time on letting the outer world of media's influence our life. But what I'm seeing out there is things that I've never seen before. Speaking in my own family, gatherings that are happening, they're talking more about ghosts, they're holding crystals, post-life discussions. and things that have just never happened before. And when I go into different stores and different places, I see a lot of the youth wearing crystals, and we're having conversations, just about different spiritual books that have influenced them. And once I start talking about their crystals, and then it sort of just starts to open up this dialogue. And so there's definitely a shift that is very easily seen in our close circles. And so it's very encouraging, and I see it quite often, and it just it catches me by surprise, and I'm amazed. Like there was literally the last family gathering that we had around Christmas, and everybody's talking about, they're holding and passing crystals around and talking about the energy that's coming off of them, and I'm like, is this really happening? I mean,
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I noticed something right here in where we are in this village of Wellington on the edge of the Everglades in South Florida. I went out to this park, this regional park, riding my bike on a trail, and got to the end of the trail, and I saw something I hadn't seen before. It was a wind phone where people could go and leave messages or talk with their deceased loved ones, and this was put up by the village, a political entity, and I thought that was cool. And
that's very cool.
Yeah, there are wind phones all over the world. It started in 2010 in Japan when a man lost his brother and decided to, he wanted to do something to communicate with him. So he put out this in front of his house, put out this this telephone inside a box on a stand, and shortly after that, there was a big disaster in Japan, earthquake and tsunami, and
Well, that was Fukushima.
Fukushima, right, yeah. And 20,000 people died in an instant. So after that, people heard about the wind phone. They started traveling across the country to visit him and to visit the wind phone. And then other people started putting up wind phones, and it expanded all around the world, which is cool.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah.
And certainly, like, one of the things that people will find is, like, they're excited that there's a special phone that you can call the divine teams, and these different, as we find more of this within ourselves, it becomes more exciting that there is more to us than just this body, and there is more realms and dimensions, and this is when the Great Awakening actually is people having an awakening that they have a soul at some level. And so this belief in the afterlife and being able to call people is in complete alignment with what the Great Awakening is. And it's a beautiful that it's happening around the planet right now.
Yeah. So
David,
Go ahead.
since you and Francesca are both mediums, I guess. I mean, that's what I
You
would
can
call you.
channel anything, really. So it's no
Okay.
different
So
than channeling a dead
Well,
loved
do you
one.
do you get messages for each other?
We've definitely channeled each other before, and this book was completely channeled by our higher selves, really. So but we definitely do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is.
I go through life with that. Like, for me, it's like, once you develop this relationship and you tap into these teams that we have, like these angelic guardian angels and these angelic guides and ascended masters that literally sit. See, they're all part of what is called the Enlightenment Act. And the Enlightenment Act is a complete universal support system to help people ascend and become enlightened for ones that already have ascended masters, light beings, angels. They're all part of this because they just want to help people come into more love and enlightenment. And we've been playing and participating in a lot of these lower constructs, such as war, and we're meant to come out of that and find peace on earth and come into this unity consciously. And so this, for me, I see the teams when I'm doing like one-to-one sessions with people and going through and connecting with their angels. They like, everybody has at least 3 angels that are within them. They're always connecting, sometimes more. And most of the people that I see that are on this journey of awakening also have ascended masters. And it's not just Christ. It could be Buddha, it could be Kuan Yin, it could be Saint Germain, it could be Krishna, and I have seen them all. And they're all within people, and people have these special relationships with a lot of these beings because they've been hanging around them. Like this lifetime is not the only lifetime that you've experienced. There's been thousands, and all of these amazing teams of light are here to help you. And so our book is just trying to help people to tap into that within themselves, that which already exists that we've just kind of forgotten about. And it creates this beautiful life when you can start talking to your angels and you start getting guidance, and it helps you navigate the hard times, the tricky things that happen in life, especially when you're dealing with trauma and or things with family members getting ill or crossing over. So the relationship then becomes a very, very special thing during those times, especially. But in your life, just in your life that you have now, you don't have to have a great tragedy come in to have a special relationship with the light. And that's where the magic comes in, is having this relationship and talking to the angels and getting the guidance and going through life together. It's like a journey together. And it makes it so much easier, especially during tough decisions that we have to make in life.
Well, Francesca, you said this is your first life on Earth. What's it like for you?
Wow. It's awesome. I love everybody. I'm having so much fun. And when you guys were speaking about like all the division in the world, that just doesn't happen in my reality. Everybody I meet is awesome and nice and loving. And it makes me think that like the media makes it much worse than what it really is, because I always meet awesome people. And I'm loving Earth. It's fun. There's too much cleaning though. I don't like that. Like I remember back in the angelic realm, it was much easier in that respect. You didn't have to do all these chores. You just got to fly free. But I remember those lifetimes in different realms. But this is definitely my first Earth stay.
So speaking of cleaning, in the book you write about spiritual hygiene. What is that about? Can you, one of you, speak on that subject?
Go ahead, Francesca.
Well, spiritual hygiene is just so key. And a good example I like to use is every day I center myself and I use sacred space. That's one of the methods that we talk in depth about in the book. And the way that you do that is really coming into awareness of source inside, and the way that you do that so that everything that comes into your reality is of the highest light. You start by grounding yourself, and then you connect your pillar of light, which is your source God light energy. And that's going to keep you in your sacred space where no negative energies, entities, low vibrational beings can come into your space, because we house everything inside of us. We house all consciousness, all energies. And if we're being intentional first thing when we get up, that we're only going to come from the space of God, God's heart, then you're only going to channel in things into your reality that reflect that. So that to me is like the most important thing with spiritual hygiene. And another thing is, I think that what you vibrationally ingest, like not only what you eat, the people you're around. If you're around low vibrational people, it can descend you into the lower dimensional constructs. If you're around high vibrational people, really amazing things are going to come into your reality and great experiences that reflect that. So those are just like a couple little things we touch upon in the book. But David's really the master of spiritual hygiene. He teaches this amazing course, and he's helped hundreds, thousands of people with the spiritual hygiene. So he's really the one to talk to more in depth about it.
No, I was just talking too much, and so I wanted to.
Yeah, I just want to mention that this spiritual hygiene, it reminds me of years ago when Trish and I used to go to Miami to visit Santero there, and occasionally get readings from him. One of the things his helpers would do is they would take flowers and rub the flowers down the sides of your body, cleansing your aura. I think it seems like there's somewhat of a
Similar.
connection there. Yeah.
I love that because flowers only vibrate beauty. One day I got into the consciousness of a flower, and all they feel is beauty. So I always surround myself with flowers. I love to be in that vibration. We talk about in the book connecting your heart to things, and I constantly, if I see a flower, I'm gonna not only smell it because that hits the senses and helps you to connect with that energy, but I'm also gonna open my heart up and connect my energy to it, and it just makes you feel like beautiful. So love that about. I'm gonna do that to people. I'm gonna rub flowers all over them too.
Good idea. So, David, what happened to you when you were 10 years old that changed your life?
I was a near-death experience, and I got thrown into a wall. My head got cracked open, and then I had a memory appear in this vision of being shown this lifetime. And so it was all of a sudden I'm seeing this pink and purple cosmic galaxy. That's not for sure the Milky Way. It's like Andromeda or somewhere like that. And that I was this golden star, and I was being shown this life and this male voice, which I believe is the cosmic father, asking me if I wanted to accept it. And I was shown the first 20 years in great, great detail during this near-death experience. It was like I was watching a cinema. And so when I came back, after I got through the whole trauma of with the hospital and getting stitched up, it gave me a lot to think about. So it started, at first, immediately I realized that there's not just this life at 10 years old, and nobody ever told me about reincarnation. But clearly I knew that we have a decision in even choosing this life. And then I lived in constant deja vu from 10 to 20, because I would always know who was going to be where, things that were going to happen, because I had already seen it. So it was really strange. I was actually really happy to get past the 20 years old, so that things could be less predictable, and it was a really
How were
strange
you thrown
period.
into a wall? Was it like a bike accident or?
No, it was our family. We're kind of low on food, and we're down to the last bowl of soup, and I called it, but my older brother bullied his way through to it, and then when I went down to grab it, he threw me over his shoulder. He just didn't realize his own strength, but he was really big. Yeah, and I wasn't. But one of the things on the spiritual hygiene, just to add a little thing, if you ever find yourself all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're feeling good, and then you don't, all of a sudden you're upset about something, and you don't even know what it is. I invite you to take a look around you and see if there's somebody who's somewhat close by that is looking upset. And so this is what we end up doing, is we end up quantum entangling with other people's energies, and some of the tools that we use in the book help to be in your energy. And if people actually realize how many fields they walk into, and when I say fields, I mean energetic, fields of energy from other people, animals, and all these different things that we go into, that we are in this quantum entanglement. And so it's like when you are in your own energy, it's literally like peace. And so we have these different tools that we teach to come and shift out. Like, I often notice it in busy places like airports or Walmarts or shopping centers, where all of a sudden I pick up on someone else's energy, and I quickly clear it out of me. And it's so strong because I'm empathic. It could be this depression energy, and I'm like, why do I feel depressed all of a sudden? And I look over, and this person's looking down and they're sad about something. And so I do clear myself, but I also help pick them up too. And I help lift their energies up as well, because obviously I'm a little compassionate. They've been through some kind of an argument or something, and we all could use a little bit of support, but it's self-empowerment. It's just coming into our own, awareness that we are more than physical vessels, and that we have energy, and how do we keep our energy clean and
Well,
clear?
you have a
I think
story.
hugging a dog is a good advice.
Absolutely. I have a dog, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So you have a story about even picking up on energy, negative energy of somebody driving a car past you, and you looked, you felt that negativity that you didn't know where it came from, and you saw the person driving the car seemed to be very angry. That's amazing that you're that sensitive that you could pick up on somebody driving past you in a car.
Well, it's because
Depends on how they're driving
my
past.
my mood shifted, and all of a sudden I was angry and upset, and I was having a great day. I was literally, there was not a thing wrong going on. And then I look over, and this angry person on the phone, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I cleared myself, and then I try to pick them up and send them love and just lift them up too. But it's just like, we are definitely energetically impacted by other people. It's like an energetic anger. It's like an energetic virus in a way, and it sits because you're speaking it, and you're giving power and creation to it. You're thinking it. And so then it sits in their energy. And if you're not clearing it, then it's just like you're hanging out with anger, and it really can bring you down. And so like this happens all the time in fights. Like if people are having fights, and it's so good to clear it out. So this secret animosity between you and the other person that represents an energetic cord between you two isn't filled and infused with all this anger. And so when you can clear that out, then you can actually come back and have a conversation about what happened without this pent up emotional resisting energy that is making you upset, And so it's like when you can clear that, then you're in a lot more clarity, and it makes relationships better. It makes your days, and you have better moments throughout your day as well. And especially on things that you're watching. People don't realize, but actors are channels. And if you're watching horror movies, I am afraid to tell you that you're going to be picking up a lot of energies that are not good, because of what is actually channeling. I've literally seen negative energies fly out of people's and my own TV, and I've had to clear it. And it's so crazy, because I'll rewind it, a part of a movie. For example, at the second Beetlejuice movie that came out, there's a specific moment that a negative energy comes out of one of the actors, and every time at the exact same moment, it will fly out of the TV. And so it's like stored in the movie. And so what is really good practice is to put golden light around your TV. You just intend to wave golden light around your TV or your phone if you're going to be watching anything. And this just keeps the energies good inside of your home. That's why it's really important what you watch, what you're taking in. That's why I like watching comedies and.
How do you-
Trish, real
go
quick,
ahead.
couple of things real quick, because so a long time ago, I was working the place I worked. We had a lunchroom that everybody ate in, and at the time I was playing this role playing game called Vampire the Masquerade, and so I brought some of the books to work with me to read at lunch, and I had a coworker get up and leave the lunchroom. And he told me, because I don't want to be around those books. And he was dead
Oh,
serious.
wow.
And then number two, I was just going to say that I'm kind of worried about some of this information falling in the wrong hands, because now I'm worried somebody's going to pick up on this and go, and when they get in a bad mood, just go out and drive around and pull off spiritual drive-bys. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, David, how do you explain somebody like Stephen King who writes horror? I mean, I don't think he's an evil person. I just think he's a very creative person who has a certain, way that he creates.
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it this way. Most people on Earth have lived many thousands of lifetimes, and some of them have not been super light. Some of them have been very gruesome. Some of them have been in wars. Some of them have been murdering other people, and these different things. If it's in people's consciousness, they're just lucky that they haven't descended. But this is what this consciousness healing is meant for. Not everybody has had these, but most people that I've ever met all have lifetimes where they're put in the position of war, and having to take, it's either them or the other person. And most of them don't even want to be in that position. They don't even want to be in the war, but if they don't, then them or their families could be murdered by the governments of the time and stuff. And so, or the militaries. And so it's a really tough consciousness and things, and it just plays in people's consciousness. And so when you have a lot of darkness within you, you can be creative in darkness. When you have a lot of light within you, you can be more creative in light. But everybody has an opportunity to heal the darkness within us. And this is what this whole awakening is coming, and first becoming aware that we are soul, and letting go, instead of choosing darkness, choosing the light, and making decisions based off of more love and peace, and for peace on earth. And I would like to think that as this great awakening is happening on the planet, that more people will become aligned with peace on earth, instead of sending young children to war who are 18 or 19, when it's mostly for resources and profiteering, and we're expending people that we love, our children. And I don't think it's right, but it's a consciousness that humanity's played in for a very long time. And through this awakening, I think more and more people are gonna choose peace and choose the light. And this is what we're trying to share more in our book, and connecting to the light within ourselves, and these amazing teams to help us lift us out of this lower playground into more of like a heaven on earth, or peace on earth kind of reality, where people can be supported, where there's not suffering, and there's not the starvation. Because right now the 25 people have 50% as much money as the bottom 50% of the population, and that's only 25 people. And so there's definitely an opportunity where we can have like more of a better abundance split. People can be more supported. There shouldn't be homelessness. There shouldn't be starvation. But it's just going to take us coming together. And I feel like this book is like one of those building blocks that helps bring the light forward, so that we can rise more into what is really there. And it's these magical realms. Like I would have never.
How long is this going to take?
The more and more people that awaken, the quicker it becomes. And so this year is supposed to be the biggest awakening ever.
Like a tipping point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happening.
Well, better hurry up and get here.
Of it. It's everybody. People are waking up every second. We're breaking through consciousness barriers inside of ourselves. And people, instead of looking outside, they no longer trust the media. They no longer trust all the different elites, and they're starting to go inside to get their information. And it's already shifting. It's going to be huge, very, very
But
soon.
the problem is there's so much misinformation.
Yeah, that's why you have to listen to your heart.
Right.
You have to listen to yourself. And if it doesn't feel good, you have to learn to discern. We talk about that in the book. If it doesn't feel good, that is not God. That is not your creator energy inside of yourself. If it feels bad, that's lower dimensional energy that is illusional energy. It's not love. Don't listen to it. Don't buy into it. But people have been so programmed and conditioned to just believe whatever they hear. You have to stop believing, stop listening to that, and listen to your heart, listen to the love inside of your soul. And then, good things are going to come into your reality because it's all a holographic reflection of what internally you're tapping into. Because, like I said, you house all energy inside of you. So if you are always stressed, watching these stressful things, listening to stressful people, of course, a stressful thing's going to keep happening in your reality and keep you in these lower vibrational cycles. But if you're listening to positive things, I listened to the book The Secret probably at least 100 times because it's so positive. And like, I don't watch any other TV. That's the only movie that I'll watch because it's a book and a movie because it's so positive. And I think you start to reprogram yourself and you pull out all this false conditioning, and then great things happen to your reality. I rarely have anything negative pop into my reality because I don't surround myself with low vibrational things.
Yeah. So I think you kind of answered, or the start to the answer of the question I was about to ask is, what is your best advice for someone starting on a spiritual journey? How should they proceed?
First thing you should do, always connect to God inside. Whatever you believe in, the highest power that you have inside, you need to connect with that. And you need to, what I do all the time is I go into the heart of God and I exist from that place. So when I'm talking to people, I'm putting God in front of us, love in front of us, and I'm definitely pulling from the highest vibrational version of myself. And that's what people have to do. It's all about interdimensional travels, going within yourself for the answers, what feels good to your heart. That would be my very first building block for everybody.
But suppose you're dealing with somebody who's an atheist.
Well, whatever they believe in, because
Whatever. Okay.
whatever positive thing they believe in. And maybe that's part of their problem. They never go and have inward interdimensional travels and find this highest power inside of themselves. And if they would travel inward enough, they would know that it's them, that we're all this one source of creational energy and they have the power inside. But you give your power away when you don't believe in yourself, because they're not even believing in themselves when they don't believe in anything. But I would say then believe in yourself, go in yourself.
There's a lot of atheists who have near-death experiences and then they change their viewpoints, and so I would just be open, like, to a belief in something. Just be like that you are a part of something that is great, and it's for you to discover it. And there's a lot of different books that are out there. Your higher power book that we did, we put our heart and soul in it to really help people connect to this magic. And I would definitely recommend, if somebody who is starting on their journey, to check out that book, because it's like, it has so many of the things that we had to learn through so many years, and so many of the things that we teach in our courses that everybody wants to learn. And it's just in an easy to read format where mostly anybody, whether they're super advanced or they're beginning on their journey, can really tap into this inner power. Your higher powers is really an inner power. It's and we all have it, and nobody's got these special rights or privileges. It's just some people are tapping into it and some people aren't.
Yeah, you really just laid it out in that book. Just
you tell.
one thing after another.
Exercise.
That's the word.
Yeah.
One exercise after another. I mean, it's very, very impressive. So for people beginning, if they start some of these explorations out of body, and they could drift into some connections that they're not going to like. So how can people protect themselves on a spiritual journey?
It's very much intentional and the faith, but we have very specific realms of divinity that we connect with, and they're either angels, they could be fairies, and Mother Gaia and her heart energy, and connecting to the sources of trees and things that are just very grounding and very trusting when it comes to this relationship. And a lot of people might think, what is he? He's teaching people how to talk to trees. What does that even mean? But trees are a source. And when people can see these massive energies in trees, and I've even seen trees that have two souls in them, and they're having conversations. And I'm just like, wait, there's two souls in this tree that decided to want to have an experience of being a tree. And they just have such amazing wisdom. And it's just, the proof is in the pudding. If you just go and put your hand over a tree and just intend to connect your heart with the tree and just ask it a question and listen with your heart, you might get some of the most profound words that come to you that is exactly what you needed to hear to get you through your day. And so
that's like the Ents in Tolkien's book. The giant trees that could communicate.
Yeah, and they can, and it's really amazing. I mean, I've literally had conversations with animals, and where they've come to me and they're talking to me, and which just is not a normal thing, especially with like rabbits. One in particular, by my house, I was talking to this rabbit, and it was telling me how its partner had recently died in the back lane, and I remember seeing a rabbit down the back lane that got ran over or something. I'm like, oh, that's horrible. Sorry to hear that was. And then as she's talking, she has a couple of children that live under my deck, and they really like it there. And I just said, listen, if we're really having this conversation, come to me. Just come to me. Immediately, within 1 second, the rabbit came right up to me, grabs from the edge of the fence. So you're talking a distance of 50 feet, all the way right in front of me, grabs a blade of grass and starts eating it and looking right in my eyes. And at the exact second I asked it to come to me. And so the consciousness, talking to animals are souls. My dog, I talk to my dog often. I'm always checking in and seeing how she's doing. And, and interestingly with my dog is a female, as she has a male soul in her. And so she has a male voice, and it's, but a lot of animals, like I've talked to dolphins that are females and they have a female voice when I'm talking to them and stuff too. So it's really, it's dependent on, like there are definitely souls that have more dominant female and souls that have more dominant male, energy when I'm from an animal perspective, and likely a human perspective as well. But what is the safety? It is, if the messages are coming from love, then you're in the right place. It is not to fear anything, and to fully trust in your inner light and the God within you, and this heart of God energy that, like Francesca is saying, and is because what everybody is being tested with is to start choosing love and stop choosing fear, and stop giving fear power. And fear could be like, I am worried about this future event that hasn't happened yet, and I'm worried that this is going to happen, or I'm worried that that's going to happen to this person and this person. And what we end up doing is we end up creating a reality based on something that hasn't happened, that does not have good outcome possibilities, because this fear. And so when you're holding the light, what you're doing is you're choosing to trust the most positive outcomes are going to happen. trusting the universe is going to bring these positive outcomes to you, and not worrying about how it happens, what happens, but just know that the most positive outcomes are going to happen. Then you end up manifesting a very good reality. And so I would say that it's the trust and not choosing fear, and just being open to the power of the creator within you, that it exists, and that there's all these kingdoms of love that are trying to support you, that are waiting for you to tap into, and sort of just be curious about it. And
You
Just real
you
quick,
mentioned. Oh,
just,
okay.
just real
Go ahead,
quick,
John.
because I'm contractually obligated to interrupt the conversation twice per episode. But it's also been a few episodes since I made a musical reference. But circling back around to the trees, I've actually recommended this song. It's been a long time ago, been a couple of years ago now, on another episode. But Adam, little known, like late 80s artist, called Adam F is the name of the artist. The name of the song is "The Tree Knows Everything." Look that up. Awesome freaking song.
Okay.
John
Wait.
is okay. I just
have. Okay, go ahead. Make your comment.
Okay. I just want to comment. John is from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and he's a musician, and that's a very famous place for music. Okay.
Now I have a question. Okay, animals reincarnate, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we lost a dog in 2023, and an animal communicator said, Trish, she's going to be reborn in December, and you're going to find her in Central Florida. And she described to me that right now, Nika was trying to decide if she wanted to be male or female. So what you're saying about the gender is interesting. And we're going up to Central Florida this weekend, or Monday and Tuesday. So I'm going to be looking.
Absolutely. The animals are the most purest and loving. If we took lessons from them, we'd be much better at
for sure.
Life. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you've talked about communicating with trees, with animals. What about the earth itself? Have you connected with the earth, and what is the earth telling us?
Well, Mother Gaia. So what I do is I send a beam of love from my heart right into the center of the earth, and there's these magical realms with Gaia, and so Gaia is a female energy, and I see her in this most beautiful light, and she's given me a lot of great information. And so there's a lot of people out there that are really stuck in the spiritual community on eating meat, for example, and there's this guilt for eating animals and meat and everything. And a lot of us choose not to, but the ones that do choose it, of clearing and purifying it, Gaia's told me all you have to do is wave your hand over the meat and send any residual consciousness within it to source. And before I became a vegetarian, I did that for many years, and it did, because what I was suffering from in the end was when I was eating meat, I could see the slaughterhouses and I could see the animals.
Oh, God.
And it was then I was like, but when you clear the consciousness out and bless the meat, it becomes clean. But it's so that's one of the things she helped me with, and that was actually something that I was really, eventually I became vegetarian, but before that it helped me like transition basically from eating meat into vegetarian in a way that was very helpful, and not feeling so guilty and not feeling like I'm taking on all these energies from the animals and stuff. But
what about eating fish?
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
Yeah. So it's just, it's always good to clear out whatever consciousness that could still be residual in the fish too. And you just got to wave your hand over it, and it just clears it out and blesses it. And of course, sending your gratitude for it is very beneficial, as well as it is in a way the sacrifice. And no matter how you look at it, the animal sacrifice itself. But Gaia also has her own angels, and she has angel teams that she works with. And then she's also in tune with everything that has a heartbeat, or everything that's living, everything that's giving birth. And so she's in tune with so much, and she's supporting so much love and bringing it forward. So it's like she's our mother, basically. She feels like she's the mother of every single being on this planet, and she just wants to nurture. And so when you can send that beam of love from your heart, and you just intend to send it right down into the heart of Mother Earth, into the heart of Mother Gaia, and it will connect this great love energy between you and she is a light, she is a consciousness, and we are all like basically her children in that way, because we are born on her. And so that because of that, we are born of her, and then we go back, or at least the bones and all this goes back to her, and when our soul transcends and everything too. So it's but she's very loving. She has amazing messages, very grounding, and I hate to say down to earth, because of course she would be. And so
what about warnings about the future, about the earth?
Don't buy into anything that they say about the warnings, about the future. They're trying to sway us to put our source creational energy into that, because if enough people focus on the negativity, we're going to tap into that lower dimensional timeline and make it occur, because we are all powerful creators, because we all have source creational energy in us. So you cannot buy into these false narratives, these negative belief systems. I believe that we're going to fly in my lifetime. I believe in positive things. I believe we're all going to come together in unity and peace. So I won't even allow my wonderful source creational energy to even buy into those beliefs, because I know how powerful I am. I know how powerful you are. And the more people that believe these false things, we will make it happen. So don't even believe it.
Yeah.
That's basically what Abraham Hicks says. You become what you think.
Amazing. Yep. Love Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
Amazing consciousness teacher, one of the best ever. Neville Goddard also. I don't know if you've read any Neville Goddard.
Right.
Amazing. That'll get your thought process right, where it should be, focusing on the good, so that we don't bring these negative things in our reality, because we're all positive. We're all gods and goddesses here. Like, you got to focus on the good, and we need to do this together in unity so that we bring the good things. We want the awesome things online. We want instant miracles and healings to be like evident in everybody. And that's what we're trying to do with the book, to empower people to tap into the positive energies. And that's why we do all these practices. And then there's pictures to even illustrate how you do it.
It's because there's a power in a collective consciousness. And the more and more people that are practicing these empowerments of love, basically, and your God consciousness, that it actually adds to a collective network of frequencies across the planet, that more and more people will rise in creating this manifestation of these beautiful things that we can achieve as a collective species when we're tapping into our God power. And so it's like, the more and more people, like that, where we are talking about this tipping point, that start believing and even connecting into, let's say, your angelic teams or your heart consciousness, the more reality is going to change, because it's like we are all agreeing now there's new possibilities, new experiences that we can have on Earth as a species. We don't have to have these old ones. We can have complete magic, complete miracles happening. And when we start believing and tapping into that as a collective, watch out, because everything is going to completely shift in this reality when that happens. And it's amazing. Then we have the biggest breakthroughs in technology and abundance, and and everybody being provided for and coming into this whole unity, collaborations as a species. I'm
Well, this is
really
very
looking forward
similar
to
to
that.
what Jane Roberts channeled through the Seth books. I'm thinking specifically of one of the books, The Nature of Mass Events, in which Seth talks about, how these mass events come about and how they were created. I mean, the books are fascinating and very similar to Abraham Hicks.
Mhm. It's us. We have the power to make this reality whatever we want it to be, and it's all majority roles. And there's a telepathic communication that occurs between all of us, and there's this whole telepathic network system, and we all communicate to each other through that. And so every person matters, like whatever it is your belief. If you believe, oh, wow, a meteor is going to hit the earth, and enough people
Yeah.
believe that the meteor will hit. And so you have to believe in the good things. Like, we need to get a party started on this earth and start thinking about like the good, fun things. Use your imagination. Imaginations are best friend and biggest tool. Use your imagination, and we'll create like things that have never been brought to this reality before, and open those things up. Like, we need to unite so that we can get to the good parts where we start creating new things together that the earth has not seen. And that's what Gaia wants us to do, because I channel her all the time, and she definitely wants everybody uniting so that we can make this a vacation planet, like Dolores Cannon said. She was so right. Like, this was meant to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Vacation planet. I love that.
The media does tend to focus on the negatives and the bad possibilities. Like twice now in the last week, I've heard about this asteroid that within 7 years has a chance of hitting the Earth. But then I looked at one of the articles in detail, and it said 1%. What about the other 99%?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
And
not
it will
talking
hit
about-
if we believe it. If enough people buy into it, it's going to hit.
Well, and to make it even more, to add a little another variable to that, this morning I read an article where now they're saying potentially it would hit the moon, which that would be way more interesting. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
You mean that same asteroid, John, they were talking about?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
They're saying now that
interesting.
there's a possibility that it could hit the moon rather than Earth.
And I don't even watch the news, so I didn't even know about this asteroid.
Well, there's like aliens living among us, and then there's also huge motherships everywhere, and the technology that they have to divert these asteroids.
Yeah.
Like Earth is meant to be preserved, and it's one day in the future, the ETs are going to be a lot more open in collaboration, but the human consciousness has to get to a point where it's safe for that. Like where there is more love and peace in the energies of the human collective. And when that happens, there's going to be great events. And so a lot of these things that are going to happen in the future that you're going to have, because people don't realize, but there's literally sky kingdoms of light beings that are at higher frequencies that are helping out this. There's ETs, there's motherships that are cloaking themselves because they don't want to scare people. And then there's ETs that take on screen prints, so they just look like people and they're not. And they're in society. But at one point it's just all going to come out in the open, and it slowly is being introduced into the collective, and people are going to have these positive ET contact experiences. And in the future, humans and ETs are going to be coexisting on Earth in a very peaceful, collaborative, even having families together. I've seen it, where new species are being born. It's quite fascinating.
You see some of them that they're living on Earth now quietly.
Oh yeah. Like I can tell. I've met some, but not like where I'm having these deep conversations with them. Like it's just, but where they say hello and they're in passing and stuff, and I can see through their screen printing. That's one of my gifts is I can see energies very clearly. And there's been a number of ETs that I've seen that are wearing these. They're like holographic projection suits of some kind to make themselves look like they're a
human.
person. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's interesting. Yeah. So we've talked about the Earth. What about the sun? You use a phrase that I found interesting. I've never heard before. The eye of the sun. And it sounds like a good book title. Uh,
Yeah,
what
it
is
does.
what is the eye of the sun?
It's like a door. It's like a door that goes into what I call solar source. And inside of the solar source, there is a lot of what would be described as like heaven, like these realms of where people and energies exist. It's like with the most vibrant colors that you can't even see on Earth. It's just so incredible. The majestical realms, the mermaid energies, the fairy energies, and the angelic, and all these heaven-like energies. I've seen it when you start tuning into the eye of the sun. It's like this little circle, this little door in the sun, and then you can literally, once you start working with your third eye, literally just connect your third eye with the eye of the sun and start seeing. I always see different masters, really high guardians. Like they're like, the sun is so much more than just providing warmth to the planet and photosynthesis. It literally has all of these light beings inside of it that are assisting. And I feel that's why we feel so much love coming from it. It's almost like this sacred love energy. But I always see them. I always see these different realities happening within the solar source of the sun. And I get a lot of amazing information about Earth, where we're at as a species, what's going on in our timeline, from the solar source light that exists inside of the sun, that you can literally go into and connect to, and you can
Are there
literally
animals
illuminate.
within the sun?
There's like these consciousnesses of animals for sure. It's like, it's amazing when you start thinking of reality in terms of frequencies and what can exist as the source structures. The sun to me is the most magical thing outside of the Earth, where that you can get amazing contacts and connections, and it's incredible.
So have you traveled to other dimensions, other planets in your out of body travels?
Yeah, lots of planets, seeing lots of species, mostly of like a 5D or higher, which is just more of a love-based reality construct. Crystalline consciousness exists in our Earth as well. We have these amazing inner Earth kingdoms of ancient tribes of like Lumerians and Telesians and Agarthans, and these different beings who have been here for a very long time. And when you go inside of the Earth, the frequency raises the more that you go into it. So there are higher frequencies, and in these higher frequencies, there's this purity. Imagine a reality without corruption of the mind, without having being influenced by, let's just say, temptation, if you will, without being angry at people, and without being like a reality where everybody's just pure. And loving and supporting each other, and always genuinely supporting and helping and assisting. This is the inner Earth kingdoms. And we also have higher frequencies above Earth, above our spectrum that we are experiencing right now, that are existing on top of us in a higher frequency. And it's like, because it's a higher frequency, it's like a whole other reality that's happening above ours in these higher frequencies. There's these talks that have discussed how there's these humans who have ascended throughout Earth's beginnings, and it's true. And there has been thousands of these beings, and I visited places where I've seen some of them, some of the ascended humans, and they're just in higher frequencies. They look human. They are wearing human things, but they just have more of a holy light. They've just tapped into their purity more and have ascended beyond our current frequency into a higher frequency.
Are they?
Why are there so many disasters on Earth now?
Yeah.
You know, hurricanes and fires and earthquakes. I mean, is that the result of the collective consciousness?
Wanting to experience duality so that we can experience that so that we can create a higher love energy from seeing all that isn't love is the way that I understand it. That we contracted this in, but that time's ending now. And we've learned enough of this duality construct, and nobody wants to suffer anymore, but it's time now.
Some of it's man-made, like the Maui fires and the LA fires. I've seen in the ethers is Project Bluebeam, and it's like a laser that's creating this. Why they are doing it? It seems like they're trying to invoke negative energies. They're literally drawing symbols into the land of Earth. And so when I'm working and doing grid work, I'm clearing that with the divine teams and clearing that energy, because there's still people who are fighting for a lower timeline on the planet during this a great awakening that we're having. And then some of it is like a cleansing. There is literally some things that are just karmically cleansing, that are just clearing the lands. And so it just depends on what it is, but definitely the Maui fires and the LA fires were not created by a natural
Project Bluebeam, you called it?
Yeah, it's like a laser, like a blue laser that the government has, and why these certain people are using it to continue to do things like with 9/11 and with the Maui fires and with these LA fires. It is their intention. It is their will of what, for the reasons to create a negative timeline. But I know that the positive of this great awakening is happening, and the consciousness is going so much forward that these people who have been in these positions of power for so long, their reign is ending and their tyranny is coming to an end. And so they still do these things that are acts against humanity, but the power of the light and the power of the hearts of all those on the planet that are awakening is to such a point where the tipping of consciousness is happening, which means it's only a matter of time now where these people who have not been good to Earth or to the people on Earth, their time is coming to an end, and they know it. So
soon?
Yeah, very soon.
This is going to happen soon. Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you say to people who are skeptical about what you do and what you say? How do you respond to that?
I just wish them the best, and I hope they have the most loving life. And,
that's good. That's a good response.
Yeah, I'm not trying to persuade anybody of anything. I just want to speak to what I feel is what the light and all these realms of magic and love that are truly there. And I hope there's some people out there that feel connected to that truth and find that love inside themselves. I mean, it's together we're rising, and so we're here to do this together. So
yeah,
whoever does catch on.
David,
great.
Do you have any interaction with these people who are doing this Project Bluebeam? I mean, trying to elevate them or anything like that? I mean,
I'm usually just cleaning up their messes that they're doing energetically. And so I work with the angels and the families of light to clean what the scarring that they're doing on our planet.
So are they related to or influenced by demonic forces in the universe?
Of course they are. Yep.
Yeah.
They are influenced. They sacrifice to them, and they have been for like an eternity. And they're the ones who have been enslaving, if you will, the human race and controlling powers of the planet. But their power is limited to darkness and to fear. And so now as this love is growing, their power is fading, and they know that. And so it's our power is on the rise and their power is on the decline. And we've gotten to a point where the tipping scales of love have exceeded that now of this fear. And this is why you're seeing this whole consciousness filling up with corruption, and because it has to be cleared now. And so we are actually in the greatest year of forward in consciousness. And this year, there's like hundreds of millions of people who are going to wake up to that they have this soul awareness to a level. And it's just going to keep rippling, and positive changes are going to happen. And so this is why this awakening is happening. So the times of the tyranny can end, and we can just put it to bed and put it behind us and rise into the golden era.
We thank you very much, David.
Oh, this is great.
Francesca.
Really enjoyed this.
Really enjoyed talking to you. And
I love your book.
yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
I really recommend your book to anybody interested in pursuing the higher realms, raising their consciousness, and the exercises are one after another, and they're just and very simply put, and it's not an egotistic book either. I didn't find it that way at all. You're just giving the energy and the love. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the Mystical Underground. Visit www.themysticalunderground.com for the latest blog post and book info. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Listen to the podcast at podcast.themysticalunderground.com. Follow Trish and Rob on Instagram at Trish and Rob McGregor. Follow us on Twitter at The Mystic Cast. Send email to podcast@themysticalunderground.com. And until next week, thank you for listening and stay mystical.